Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Grow Your Life podcast. My name is Jeremiah Krakowski, and this is the podcast where we talk about ways for you to grow in your life and in your business, to make more money in a business, but also to grow in your mindset, the way that you view things, and just optimize yourself to reach your goals faster. If you're not part of the hashtag Grow Your Life community on Facebook, join it. There's over 1,000 people just like yourself that are growing in their life and their business every single week, that are asking questions. There's a community there that you can plug into, get to know some people, and get some of your questions answered as you go through these podcasts. If you haven't listened to any other episodes of this podcast, you don't need to go in order. You can pick whatever episodes kind of stand out to you. And if you want to win free coaching with me, I'm going to tell you how to do that at the end of this episode, a free 30-minute coaching call that you can win. On this episode, I want to talk about ways for you to kind of break through the plateaus that you're having, ways for you to reach your goals faster, ways for you to break through whatever is blocking you or limiting you, whatever that is. And oftentimes it's whether it's a fear of failure, could be, maybe you feel like you don't know enough, maybe you don't have the right clout, the right influence, maybe you're worried about people judging you. I have some notes here that I took on my notepads. If you hear me flipping paper around or see that, I'm just kind of reading these notes so I can stay on track with you. Oftentimes, when we have a goal, when we know that we want to go after something, we have a framework based on how we've lived our life up to this point to do that. The thing is that if you go based on the same level of consciousness and living and being, meaning how you live your life day to day, your normal MO, that have gotten you up to this moment in time, all that you're ever going to get from here on out is exactly what you've gotten up to this moment in time. And so on this episode, I kind of want to teach you a new way to look at things. I want to help you see what might be holding you back, what might be blocking you from reaching that next level. And when I talk to people, one of the biggest areas, it has to do with whether it's fear of failure, being judged by other people, they're worried about what other people think about them, or if that's not what it is, they're waiting until they have enough resources, connections, confidence, proof that they can do what they can do, knowledge, influence, clout, money, or just all-around certainty that they can do it. And this, again, still ties back to, I'm gonna be very real here, because I talk to a lot of people. They say, well, I don't have fear. But then I talk to them and they're waiting until they have these other things. Any moment where you're trying to wait until you have or become something different is because of some kind of a limiting belief that is keeping you right where you are right now. And this is tied to feeling out of control. This is tied to feeling like you don't have control of what's coming at you. You don't have control of what to do next. And so you're waiting until you have all these things because it will increase the level of control over your situation that you have. Then you will finally believe that you can do it. And when we're waiting for that, that is still a root of fear. It's a fear of not being in control and believing that when we're not in control, the uncertainty of what might happen in that situation, or the belief of all the potential things that could go wrong, fear of those potentials. And one of the biggest ones has to do with judgment. What other people think about us, how they perceive us. And this always comes from how we judge other people that are trying to go after something. Stick with me here for a second because I want to go over this. You may not feel like judgment is an issue that you're having, but maybe you're worried about messing up, making mistakes, screwing up, going broke, doing something wrong, and getting criticized, getting haters. And you believe that you can do better. And so you're waiting until the day when you know that you can do better to do the thing that you know that you can do. Does any of this sound familiar to you? This all usually ties down to how we judge ourselves and how we judge other people that we've seen do the thing that we want to do. And oftentimes maybe we've judged somebody as being too much, annoying. This is especially in business, unprofessional, arrogant or ignorant, inauthentic, fake, pushy, or not helpful. And so we've made a decision that, well, if I have to be that way to be successful, I'm not going to go after my dreams because that's the only way that I've seen that people do what I want to do have done. And so we believe that we're worried that people are also going to judge us that way. And so we don't ever want to appear that way. And so we're choosing to live our life based on a framework of one day when I finally get enough influence, money, clout, confidence, resources, proof, certainty, or knowledge or connections, then I will finally be able to control my destiny enough to go after what I was made to do. It's a belief that without those things, you will have to do these things that will get you judged, that you are not enough, that you have to be somebody else to reach your goals. You're judging yourself as that because you've maybe seen other people that you believed weren't enough, or you're just seeing yourself. Maybe your present reality shows you, listen, I don't have what it takes to reach my goals. Otherwise I would be there. You know that to be true. And so you're waiting until some moment in the future to come where you have everything that you need to be successful, where you have everything you need so that you know that you won't make any mistakes. The truth is this. I'm going to give you some kind of cold, hard truth here. When you start going after your dreams, going after your goals, and start going after the things that you know that you can do, you're going to suck. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have haters, critics, and even judgmental people. There's not going to be a day where you arrive and that stops happening. But there's a belief that someday we will arrive to a point where all of that will stop happening, and then we can finally do the thing that we know that we can do. Because we believe that we can do it. We believe that we can, so we're waiting to be someone else in the future to reach our goals. We're waiting to become something different than we already are. The truth is that if you are waiting until you become somebody else to reach your goals, if you're waiting until you make the right connections, you can start to ask the right questions, make mistakes, or be somebody else to reach your goals, you're never going to get there. There's not going to be a day that you arrive to get there, because the fact of the matter is that day is right now. I'm going to come back to that here in a little bit, because I believe that anybody listening to this podcast right now has what it takes to reach their goals, has what it takes to go after their dreams, has what it takes to step forward and increase their income, make more money, has what it takes to build the right connections that they need, has what it takes to grow in the proof and certainty and belief and take action. And there's not ever going to be a day where you arrive to do that. What it all comes down to is this belief that there are things outside of your control, and that one day those things that are outside of your control will someday be inside of your control. And so as long as I can get closer to the point where they're inside my control, then I can finally go after my dreams. Then I can finally do the things that I want to do. Because we believe that our success, our income, our status, our reputation, perception, our confidence, our certainty, our resources, our influence, our clout, our connections, our knowledge are outside of what we can currently control at this moment. And so we're constantly seeking the moment in the future where we will have and acquire what we need to go after our destiny. And so that belief is keeping us right where we are right now. That belief is keeping us right at the place of doing nothing, because the pain of doing nothing isn't greater than our fear of it not working out, our fear of making mistakes, our fear of messing up, our fear of what other people might think about us, our fear of looking bad, unprofessional, annoying, being pushy, being inauthentic, being not helpful, being too much, having critics, having haters. The list goes on. And so we're believing that one day we will arrive at a moment where those things don't matter, and that day is somewhere off in the future. And so if we can only just get there, then I can finally start doing the things that I know that I can do. And this is that level of kind of stopping ourselves. The fact of the matter is this. It really boils down to the fact that even if you believe that someday you can do it, you believe that one day your stars are going to align and there's going to be the perfect time, the perfect connections, the perfect resources, the perfect knowledge that you're going to come and arrive at, the perfect influence or clout or proof or confidence that you're going to have to where you can finally be in control of your life. And you don't believe that you can actually take control of your life right now, and that it's up to these outside things that are keeping you and holding you back. It's this loop that we go in where we think that things outside of us are controlling us right where we are right now. The things that are outside of us are dictating our future. And so we don't believe that we have the ability to do the things that we know that we can do until we finally acquire what we don't have that's outside of our control. And often this is tied to our past experiences, past mistakes that we've made. And we've made decisions that, one day I'm going to reach a point where I'm finally enough to do the things that I know that I can do. That one day I can finally go after these things. That one day I will finally be able to control my life and control those around me to go after my destiny. And this belief is keeping you stuck right where you are right now. This belief is keeping you in a loop of waiting until someday because of a lack of belief that you are enough, that you have everything that you need right now to accomplish your goals. And so the belief that needs to change is that there's not going to be a someday in the future where you're finally going to arrive where you can go after your goals. There's not going to be a someday in the future where you finally have enough resources, clout, money, connections, influence, or confidence for you to believe that you can actually do the things that you want to do. The moment is right now. You already have everything that you need right now to go after your dreams. Now, some of you might be listening to this and think like there's just such a disconnect. You got your present reality and you have what you see off in the future and you're like, I'm not there. You have to realize that what you're seeing there needs to actually be what you're experiencing now by what you believe. You believe that you're not there, so that's why you are not there. You don't have faith and trust in the process. You don't have trust that things are working out for you. And you have more trust in your worry, your anxiety, your fear, and what you perceive might happen in the future, and more trust in the belief of your past and what you've experienced, that you keep repeating the same cycle over and over again. And you have to look at, what is blocking you from getting to your future. Here's the deal. This is what I believe right now, for those of you that are listening to this podcast, that you have at this exact moment in time, right now, listening to this, everything that you need to reach your goals. All the resources, all the influence, all the clout, all the knowledge to reach your goals. There's not someday that that's going to happen. Now, I also believe that there's things that we can learn, we can grow in, we can build connections, we can make connections, we can ask the questions that we need. And this is why it ties right into judgment, how we judge ourselves, our beliefs about other people, and what we're worried about what other people think about us. We're afraid to ask questions because of how we might look when we ask that question. We're afraid to go out there and make certain connections because of how we might be perceived by those people. We're afraid of making mistakes because of how we might look when we make that, or how we might perceive ourselves. We're afraid of messing up. We're afraid of learning. We're afraid of admitting that we don't know everything already. We're afraid of getting the resources that we need to accomplish our dreams because of how we might be perceived when we get there. We're afraid of what success might look like and the responsibility that we would have once we reach that success. And we're relying so much on what is comfortable, what we've experienced up to this moment, what we know for certain is repeatable and will continue to happen from day to day to day, because the pain of going after our future, of going after the dreams that we have, is greater than staying stuck right where we are right now. And we have to flip that perception. You see, the difference is, the reason why you're not going after those things in the future and doing nothing, or maybe you're doing something or it's very slow because you're waiting until things happen and things start clicking just a little bit. This is a harsh statement. I'm gonna say it though, but it's that you don't believe that you're enough to do it, that you don't believe that you can do it. And if you do believe that you're enough to do it and then you can do it, then it's this belief that someday you will arrive at a point that's a perfect time where the stars will align, where you can then finally do it. So you're waiting until something outside of you arrives for you to do it. And so that ultimately boils down to a belief that in this present moment, you can't do it. That's what it is. So if you believe you can do it, you believe you can someday. You don't believe that you can today. Or you believe that you can today if all these other people or all these other things change around me. And you're waiting until the things that you can't control change, because you believe that one day you're going to get to a point where you can change the things that you can't control. And trying to arrive at that moment. That moment is never going to come. You're going to, if you stay on this path, you're going to keep hearing this same message over and over again from me or different people or other people until finally one of these days you believe this, that you are enough right now, as you are right now, that you have everything that you need to reach your goals right now. And the only thing that is stopping you from reaching your goals is not time, is not money, is not resources, is not people, is not connections. It's you. And taking ownership over your life, taking ownership over your choices. I'm not talking about taking ownership over other people. I'm not talking about being able to one day control other people or manipulate or shift and control things that are outside of your control that you can't change. I'm talking about taking complete control over your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, and your actions, and believing that there is nothing else outside of you that is dictating whether you can go after your destiny or not. There's nothing else outside of you stopping you from reaching your goals. That the judgments from other people, critics, haters, when you mess up or make a mistake or whatever anybody thinks about you, does not have an effect on your future and your ability to accomplish anything unless you've given them that power. And if you have given that power up to other people, you got to ask yourself, why is that? And oftentimes it ties to experiences that we have in the past where we did not trust ourselves, where we were hurt, areas where we need to forgive other people, areas where we need to forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we made. Forgive ourselves and step into the new reality of our destiny. It's already been here for us. It's waiting for us to step into it. You see, that future moment that you've been waiting to step into can be right now, in this instant. Now, how does that work? Well, what I want you to do is imagine, just kind of visualize right now and believe. If I was enough, if I had everything that I need to reach my goals, what would I do in this present moment? And then go do that thing. Go do that thing that you've been waiting to do when you finally arrive. And now we come face to face with what our real fears are. We ripped the Band-Aid off in that moment. When you start to imagine that, we can see what we're really afraid of. And we can kind of see, okay, this is what's been stopping me at this moment. And our worry and fear and anxiety are ultimately what's keeping us held back of what potentially could happen. We need to replace those with peace, love, and joy in our lives, and choose to be in a state of peace, love, and joy, and surrender our worry, fear, and anxiety to God. Surrender the worry, the anxiety, the trying to control everything around me, the trying to make sure that I do everything perfect and accomplish everything and don't get judged by other people, to God and say, I trust you, direct my footsteps, and then follow those plans, follow out and walk out that declaration of trust. Walk out that declaration with faith. You see, the opposite of faith is this perception of worrying what other people think, fear, anxiety. Those things that you're worried about, those aren't ever going to disappear. But the power that you give them, you can disempower them and surrender them to God to give you strength where you don't have strength. Peace, joy, love, perseverance, to go after your future, to step into the destiny that's prepared for you, to receive all the blessings that God already has for you. Giving up the need to understand it all. Giving up the need to know exactly how it's all going to work out. We walk out our faith and our declaration by trusting. And if there's anything that's blocking us from trusting, or any beliefs that we believe, okay, I have to control this, or I have to change this, or I have to arrive one day at this moment where all of this is going to change for me to finally go after what I was made to do, to where I can't trust until these things are in order. If there's any area that is, I want you to write that down. I want you to think about it. And I want you to say, God, I give this up to you. Now show me what you would have me do. God, I give up the need to control what happens next. I trust that what you have planned for me is the best thing for me right now. I give up the expectations that I have for my life, that I expect that one day I can control it, and I give it up to your will. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And we replace the belief that we have about, I have to control this, or I have to one day arrive at a time where I can finally do this. And we replace it with truth, that you can do all things, that nothing is impossible, that there's not any moment in time where you will finally arrive to do this. And you start to live and abide and be in peace, in love, in joy, and be love, be present, and just be. Now, what happens at this moment when you can finally get to that place of being? And some of you might need to go back and listen to this podcast a few times to get there. You might need to go back and listen to what I talked about on this. You'll feel a tangible difference inside of you when you go from striving to being. You don't do anything to finally be something. You just are. And that being comes from being who God made you to be, not somebody else, not a copy, not a version of yourself that you finally think that you arrive to be in the future. You are right now exactly that future version that you see, that you visualize. And so being that person right now can now do anything, do the impossible, trust in God. And you can flow from spirit, flow in your spirit. You flow through things. And what you do, what you accomplish, what your actions are, flow from a state of faith, not a state of worry or anxiety, which are so less effective, not a state of striving. They're not effective tools. They're tools that we were born with, that we were given, but they don't work. When we flow with God and we align our will with God's and we flow towards our destiny, nothing is impossible. And realize this, if God sees you as enough to accomplish everything that you need to, why do you see yourself as any less? Why do you let other people project the reflection of themselves onto you to affect your choices? That's all it is. That's all that other people's judgments are. Other people's judgments are just a reflection of how they see themselves onto you. And the judgments that you have on other people are the reflections on how you see yourself onto other people. That's all it is. If God sees you as enough and believes that you are, why would you ever believe or see yourself as any less? Or let anybody else tell you that you're any less? Well, you wouldn't, but we do. And I totally get it. I do it myself. We all do. It's a human thing. So it's not that you're bad that you are. It's literally, that's humanity. And that's why we surrender our need to control, because even in our greatest strength, we have to just give it up to God and let Him live and work through us to go after our destiny. Trust God to help you make the connections. Trust God to help you ask the questions. Trust God to help you learn things. God's not going to judge or punish you when you make a mistake to reach your goals or even mess up. He's not disappointed in you. He loves you and he says, you know what? Let's try again. Let's do it again. Let's keep going. I have a plan and a destiny for your life. I have all the resources that you need. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. You are enough. And when you can trust in that, and you can put your faith in that, you can believe that you are enough. Now you can start to put one foot in front of the other and go after your goals. You don't need to be anyone that you aren't today to reach those goals. There's not a moment that you're going to finally arrive for you to perform enough and do enough and have enough and feel enough. You just are right now enough in this moment to accomplish your goals, to reach your destiny, to do the impossible, to do great things. And so the question I got to ask you is, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for to go after your goals? It's not a trick question. It's not it's kind of a rhetorical question. What is that? Start to write some stuff down in a journal yourself. What are those things? What are those limiting beliefs? What does God say about me? What is the truth that God says that I am enough? Why do I believe that I'm not? And then start to build a plan for yourself. What am I going to do this week? What actions am I going to take to go after the plans and the destiny that God has for me? Start to write it down. And if those things are hard, say, God, I surrender this to you. Give me the strength where I have none. I trust in you. Let's go for it together. And start to put one foot in front of the other, going after your goals. That's it. That's how you break through. That's how you break through those blocks, those things that block you, that are stopping you, that are keeping you stuck right where you are right now. Are you ready to go after your goals? Are you ready to go after what you were made for? Are you ready to go after the plans and the destiny that God has for your life? Let's do it. I believe in you. You can accomplish anything. And if you're listening to this podcast, if you have any questions or wondering, okay, what are my next steps in this or this area? That's what the Grow Your Life community is for. That's what my Facebook page is for, my Instagram, where I make videos and you can leave comments on social media and I can start to make more content and podcasts, or we can start to coach together through this. We can start to work towards your goals and start to build a plan and a strategy for you to reach your goals. And if you want to win a free 30-minute coaching session with me, go over to my Instagram, instagram.com/Jeremy Crack, JeremyKrak. Or you can go to my website, jeremiahkrakowski.com, and click on my Instagram logo on there and leave #GrowYourLife in the comments on my Instagram. I pick one winner every single week on Sunday to win a free coaching session with me. I believe in you. I know that you can go after your dreams. We'll talk soon. Grow your life, everybody.